Hello and welcome to this introduction to the Digital Public Library of America and introduction on how to use DPLA. First, a little bit about the Digital Public Library of America. DPLA is a free online library that provides access to millions of books, photographs, maps, AV materials, and more from libraries, archives, and museums across the U.S. If you're wondering what sort of materials you can find in DPLA, there are over 15 million items, including images of objects, in this case a $2 treasury note, posters and other print media, maps and charts, as well as various video files and audio files. There's text in the form of ebooks, letters, newspapers, magazines, correspondence, various governmental records, obituaries, and more. The Digital Public Library of America is a portal, a platform, and a public option. In this presentation, we'll discover it mostly as a portal that delivers resources through different searching and browsing possibilities. It is more than a search engine because this portal provides innovative ways to search and scan through the united collection of millions of items, including by timeline, map, virtual bookshelf, format, subject, and partner organization. As librarians and metadata users, it is important that you know a little bit about the history of DPLA. The notion of having some sort of national digital library had been circulating around since early 1990s, and the first effort was the Google Books project. So, in this case, the initial mission was to digitize as many research and public domain books as possible to make them as widely accessible as possible. And the initial vision of a national digital public library was that large research libraries, such as Harvard, University of Michigan, etc., that had rare items in their collection, would provide the content, and Google would provide the digitization for these materials. So digitization can be a very costly process. So to that end, it was thought that it would be easier for Google and libraries, as a public-private partnership, to work together to make an otherwise inaccessible materials accessible through the Google Books project. So one of the beneficial results of that partnership was that libraries who donated content put together a digitally searchable library of HathiTrust. And the HathiTrust digital library took all of those books and put them together. Libraries got together and did that. But the larger vision of having a truly digital public library, which was a repository of cultural artifacts as well as photos, maps, videos, etc., required a larger scale collaboration between libraries, archives, museums, historical societies, as well as a wider distribution of workflows and financial support. So in 2010, let's go ahead and go to the About area. In 2010, a group of 40 leaders, including historians, librarians, foundations, philanthropists, archives, all experts in technology, law, and education, they all agreed to work together to create open distributed network of comprehensive online resources that would draw on the nation's living heritage from libraries, universities, archives, and museums in order to educate, inform, and empower everyone and current future generations. So over the next 2.5 years, they came up with a plan which included making agreements with organizations that had large collections, that DPLA would acquire metadata for those collection holdings, and would make a further agreement that full research copies would be made accessible through the organization's institution. So the idea is that the content metadata that the institution had would be standardized and donated to DPLA, and DPLA would serve as a federated searchable database of the metadata from these institutions. So the founding content hubs for DPLA were organizations that already had large digitized collections, and these are content hubs. They represented here by the yellow dots. They already had collections of 200,000 items and larger, and they included Library of Congress, National Archives, Smithsonian Institution, Internet Archive, Harvard Library. So these large content hubs provided the metadata directly to DPLA. And they additionally came up with service hubs, which act as regional or state collaborators, and they facilitate collaboration amongst various local libraries, museums, archives, and cultural heritage institutions. So the idea here is that the hubs model ensures that institutions of any size, including this little institution here, would ultimately be able to participate in DPLA through the service hubs. And to that end, it would be ideal to have these service hubs in every state or region. So when those initial big hubs standardized all their metadata and became part of Digital Public Library America, DPLA launched in April of 2013. And it launched with 6 million items, and those were from those large extant digital collections. As of February of 2017, less than 4 years later, it's grown to over 15 million items from 33 partner organizations. So keep in mind, as you're searching DPLA, that the interface is really searching metadata that has been contributed by 33 different organizations. The attempts have been made at the hub level to standardize the metadata so that DPLA users can execute a federated search across all of those geographically dispersed institutions. Also keep in mind that the DPA search results display metadata for the item, but access to the research version of the item is available through the hosting institution. DPLA does not host all 15 million items. It only hosts metadata for 15 million items and uses that metadata to make all of the various geographically separated items findable in one spot.